I'm going to tell you now about Dan Gable. Anybody heard of Dan Gable? Anybody here ever wrestle?
My son has, but I know you've wrestled.
Yes, I have. That's me on the right side. That's when I used to have muscles. I don't know what happened to him, Carla. Anyway, so Dan Gable, I met him in 1974. This is the 1972 Olympics after he won the gold. 1974, my coach calls me and says, hey, Dan Gable's coming to town to the University of Utah. You need to go to this camp. I had $500 saved. I was about ready to buy a Suzuki Enduro motorcycle. When I found out he was going to come, I said, I'll give it up for that. I'll go. Because my parents weren't going to pay for it. So I gave him my $500. I went to camp. I showed up in the summertime. I get there. We had this orientation meeting. It was Roderick Wrestling Camp. Myron Roderick, who was over the camp, famous Oklahoma State coach, approached me. I didn't know anybody there, by the way. My coach wasn't there. None of the teammates I knew. You know, my teammates were all, they didn't go. I don't know why. But I was the only one there from my school. And he says, we've chosen you to be Dan Gable's escort when he arrives tomorrow. Can you imagine? I mean, a kid that's in wrestling, this is like the epitome of the person in the industry of wrestling. So I said, yes, sir, I'll do it. He said, well, just make sure he's taken care of. You check him in. So the next morning, we got up bright and early, and we were doing warm-ups and drills, and it was my turn to leave and go get Dan. So I have to tell you, for the next 45 minutes, it was very, very, very important to me because very few athletes ever have the chance to spend dedicated one-on-one time with a world champion. And I didn't really appreciate it back then, but I sure do now. So let me just tell you something that might make a difference to you. I mean, Dan was an incredible person, and he was a world champion. Let me just give you some relevance to that. He, in high school, wrestled 64 times and won 64 times. From his first match in high school to his last match, won 3 state championships. That's unheard of. Then he went to college, undefeated, every year. And his final year in the NCAA championship, last college bout, he lost by 13-11 to a guy named Larry Owens. Dan had won 2 national championships before that year, so it was a huge, huge upset. So he'd never lost before, and again, because you already saw up here, he never lost afterward. So he went on to the Olympics in 1972, won the gold, won 6 straight matches, and didn't give up a single point to any of his opponents. Now, consider that for a second. I mean, the greatest wrestlers in the world he was wrestling, he didn't allow any of them to score a single point. If you don't think that's good enough, he went on to become a coach for Iowa State, and during his 21 years as a coach, the very first year, champion round, he was in Big Ten. They won 21 years of Big Ten championships. He won 15 as a team, as coach, national NCAA championships. And their team, this is the remarkable statistic. If you like statistics, 94%, his team won 94% of their matches over a 21-year period. His team. So this is the man I was about to meet. You know, this incredible man and specimen. So back to my story really quick. So I go to pick up Dan, and there he was. I introduced myself. We shook hands. I grabbed one of his bags, and we were off to take him across campus, University of Utah, to check him in. What I do remember is he was really low-key. He was easy to talk to, and really the conversation was going really well until my immaturity and my youth showed up. And I said, hey, Dad, I heard you lost a match one time. What happened, Dan? You know, I didn't say it like that, but I did ask the question. And Dan goes, what kind of guy am I walking next to, you know? But he was really cool about it. He just said, Gary, I had a bad day. That's the only bad day he ever had in his life. But he had a bad day. So I just wanted to share with you that the amazing part is I got into this wrestling camp. He was teaching us. I got to wrestle him multiple times. Not only spend time with him, but wrestle him. And what was incredible about that is that in just one amazing week, I was able to, working with the best of the best, raise my wrestling game tenfold. In fact, it really created my whole, opinion about what human potential is all about. And Dan was so cool about it, so great about it. I mean, I have a lot more to tell about this story and things that happened afterward. In fact, it started a winning streak for me. I was undefeated at camp. I was also undefeated in my senior year and became recognized nationally after that. This is me after Dan, okay? Before I was on my back some of the times. But this is me after Dan Gable. So my the question is here, how do you reach your true potential? Well, you need to be with people that can change your mindset. And these centers of influence like this that you can sometimes get access to can really make a difference to you.